Hi, my name is Troy Anderson. I'm the owner of Anderson Training System. What I'm here to do today is give you a little bit of the look at the ins and outs of the Kettlebells Unleashed programming for day number 2. This is just to give you a simple snapshot of the drills and how they're being performed and some of the technical capacities of them. It's not a follow-along workout, and I'm not going to discuss the programming too much because that's in the program itself. So I expect that most of you will be able to take a look at that and read through that. I'm just going to give you the ins and outs and the technical performance of all the drills for day 2 of the Kettlebell Unleashed program. So let's go ahead and get into it. The first drill of the day for day 2 is a double kettlebell front squat. We're going to take 2 bells, and all we're going to do is get them up into what we call the rack position. Simply, all we're going to do, if you know how to or are comfortable with, you're going to perform a double kettlebell clean by hips back and bring them up into this position. If you're not comfortable doing this, just kind of hitch them up one at a time. These are relatively light bells. If they're heavier bells, you're probably not going to do that. The really cool thing about this, I'm going to perform a few repetitions, then come back and talk about a couple of specific teaching points, and then we'll go from there. So I'm going to get myself set up in a nice hip width position, nice tall trunk. Obviously, the weight on the front of me is going to want to pull me and cave me in forward. That's one of the key benefits that we'll get to in a second. From here, it's just going to be weight on heels. We're going to drive knees wide and push butt out. So it's going to be down into a nice deep position and back up. And back up. I'm holding the bells nice and tight. I'm not flapping them out on my arms, which would be the tendency of maybe they're uncomfortable with using the kettlebell. We're bringing it in here nice and tight. We're kind of resting our elbows right on our rib cage. Weight back on heels, knees wide. Create space for the hips and back up. Holding kettlebells in the rack position by performing a front squat is extremely demanding, much like we talked about in day 1 with the step-ups on the trunk itself. Really hard to explain unless you experience it, but holding them in here, putting the pressure on and creating pressure on the trunk and torso area, along with the weight wanting to collapse us forward, and our trunk posture having to work to hold ourselves upright. It gives you an added benefit that you will only have to experience when you perform this day's exercises. Beyond that, our typical movement pattern is of the squat does not change at all. Feet are firmly planted on the ground. It's all being driven from the hips and posterior chain. We're holding here nice and tight in the rack position. We don't want to I'm going to give you a couple of things to the rack position that we talked about. I mentioned one of them earlier about flopping the arms out like this. We don't know how to hold the kettlebells here. It's not proper rack position. Proper rack position is arm tight into the body. If you're a female, obviously your chest, you're going to hold out a little bit wider. You're not going to come in over the top, so a little bit wider. But for the most part, proper rack position is right here. Nice vertical forearm. We're not leaking out with our palm open as such. We're going to come over the top. Should feel a light bit of pressure on the back of your forearm. And we're nice and tight here. That's the proper rack position for holding the kettlebell. Obviously, you'll have 2 of them. From there, might as well show you while I'm talking. Just going to slot, nice hip width stance. If you want to toe out a few degrees, that's fine. We're not throwing our legs open as such. It's just going to create improper movement pattern for the squat. From here, it's just going to reach hips back, drive knees wide. Drive knees wide is not turning your feet out wider. It's pushing your knees out wide to create space for your hips. Those of you with really tight adductors or inner thigh area, so to speak, may find this a little uncomfortable. But again, that's our double kettlebell front squat. Our alternate drill to this, because all the movements, like I said, I'm not going to get too much into the protocol, but all the movements in day 2 are going to be supersetted. So it's one drill and the next, alternating back and forth in between the 2. There's 3 sets of those supersets. Next drill is very, very non-complex. Probably most of us in all our lives have done this. It's what I call eccentric push-up. This is a drill that I specifically use to help my female clients or those with weaker upper body strength be able to perform a full-on push-up, because we don't perform the kneeling or knee or girl push-ups, whatever you want to call them, in my facility. So we're going to start in good position. We're going to have hands underneath shoulders, nice long straight body, no sagging or dipping here. That's where most people really get in trouble. And all this is going to be, eccentric means that we're just going to work on the lowering portion of the range of motion here. For those of you who are top guns and badasses, there's no need for you to go to the kneeling position. You should just be able to drive yourself back up. So the programming is going to be just real simple. We're going to go at about a 5 to 10 countdown depending on the day. So it's going to be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And as we get just to 1 or to our final count, we'll be just above the 4 and we'll push back up. For those of you that aren't comfortable with this and aren't strong enough to push back up as time goes on, and many of you might not be as the sets progress, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just come down to the ground, come to kneeling, come back to a good start position. So that's the movement aspect. Let's go ahead and address a couple of the improper portions that could throw us out askew a little bit with performing this movement. First one is, like I talked about in the beginning, we start to sag, and we're doing this type of thing here, which ultimately leads into us shoving our upper back into our neck area. Not comfortable. Not comfortable, and potentially gives us not only a bad movement pattern, but also gives us probably some kinks and some trigger points in our upper back. So again, push-ups and any kind of pressing are just as much about the back as they are about the actual movements being performed. Our back is critical here, of holding our chest tall, holding a good posture, and allowing our upper body to do the work that we're demanding of it. Another key that I like to, or coaching cue that I like to use for those that aren't accustomed to doing push-ups or have a really hard time with it, is to drive your elbows wide. It's going to create space for your chest to come down into, and it's going to allow a lot more freer and unrestricted range of motion. So again, it's nice and tall, good posture, hands underneath shoulders, squeeze cheeks a little bit if you need. We're going to not allow any sag. We're going to drive elbows wide. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Those of you that are training on your own, I strongly recommend you use a timer of sorts. Most of the time, people count a lot faster than the requisite countdown. Or if you have a training partner, that's even better. So those are the first 2 drills that we're looking at.